DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's AMA with DeFi Kingdoms. Excited to be here as always. We are going to switch up the order a little bit today because I realized that we could give more time. Nope, there we go. More time if we did it in this order. So we're going to go to Winston first. Winston, how are you doing? And who are you fighting today?
I'm pretty good. I'm suspicious of whatever it is you're trying to pull with this more time thing. We didn't talk about this in the pre-meet, so I'm gonna be watching you. So
Just going to you first so that there's more time between you announcing the bouts and the bouts starting for people to get in there and vote.
Oh, that's pretty smart. Okay, fair enough. Thanks for explaining that. I did start them a touch later this week. I think they're starting at like to 10 after and 15 after instead of 5 and 10 after. So get in there and vote or sponsor if that's your cup of tea. I'm just gonna give a bunch of crystal away this week. So if you just want to buy, you can buy whatever you want. So buy whatever you want with that. And aside from that, I'm pretty good. Things are pretty good. I'm fighting. Here we go. I'm gonna rattle through some names. I'm fighting Spassvogel, DFK Elite, Level Up. It's just the man, the myth, the legend. He had a different name too when he first started. We chatted a bunch when he first started because he was hitting boar hunts really hard. But I wonder. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to reveal all of his secrets. But he did have a different name at one point. It was like Frisky Fox, I think is what he was calling himself. But that's a joke. Sorry, guys. That's a kind of a joke. But yeah, fighting Spassvogel. It's going to be fun. We're doing a level 10 and a level 15 bout. He didn't want to use archers, but I don't care. So I'm using an archer. I can do whatever I want for the most part. But I did match his levels. So should be a good bout. Those are starting in 5 minutes or so. So make sure you get in there and vote and sponsor. And what else is going on? Yeah, pretty exciting news about the pirate, and seeing the codex subject to change, So don't plan your whole life around it. Things could change. But it has been pretty fun, pretty cool to play. Looking forward to getting a lot of feedback from the players and hearing what they think about it when it drops. Probably not next week. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. Probably not next week, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, pretty exciting. Here comes the weekend, and I'm going to hand it back over to you, Bolan.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, fighting what I would say is one of the best known PvP commentators around in DFK Elite. So looking forward to that one. Hubert, how are you doing today?
Hey, Bolan, I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you. Thank you.
Nice.
Glad to have you here with us.
Yeah. I guess I had some announcement things, but Winston mentioned it again already. So
yeah, he stole your thunder.
Pirate Codex is out. Yeah, so you guys can definitely go take a look at it. We decided this time to just release it with all the numbers since we're closer to the release time, but everything is still actively in testing and balancing right now. So very likely there will be changes to that codex before it actually releases. But you can kind of at least get a snapshot of where it's at this moment. And, it's things are coming along pretty well with it. So I'm pretty excited to get that out and see how that kind of changes everything.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that and looking forward to seeing people get their hands on it and getting to play those pirates. But yeah, take a look at the codex if you haven't already. That said, as mentioned, it is still subject to change, but take a look. Start familiarizing yourself. Dreamer, how are you doing today? Dreamer, you show unmuted, but we cannot hear you. Have you hit the classic double mute? Oh, nope, he hit the exit. Well, Dreamer will be back in a moment. We'll see if we can hear him. In the meantime, I did have one announcement real quick, in addition to what has been mentioned previously. So the new week of tournaments has been loaded. We will be sharing the graphic with the schedule as well a little bit later today. But one small change as well. We have reintroduced a level 6 Patrollers Limited. So there will be a level 5, a level 6, and a couple of level 9 Patroller Limited tournaments. So keep an eye out for those. We wanted to see how they feel, see what people think, see if they like them. So we will be running a couple of those. With that, I was hoping Dreamer might pop back in so we could find out how he was doing before we jumped into questions. But we're going to jump into questions and then we will circle back to learn how Dreamer's day is going. Never mind. Haha. Dreamer, can we hear you?
Test. Hello.
You are here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I see the non-wandering ogre in the crowd, not wandering and hanging out, not driving around everywhere. What's up, ogre? That makes me happy to see you. And yeah, I'm hearing a lot of pirate talk, all this private pirate talk. Excited about pirate getting progressed, and hope people are doing their homework on the codex and getting ready for him to hit the scene in all of our combat glory in DeFi Kingdoms.
Nice. Absolutely. Awesome. With that, we will roll into some questions. My first question is for Winston. Winston, is that the first bout that's starting in 6 minutes?
That is correct. Yes. Yeah, I think I did 12:15 and 12:20 actually.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Cool. So everybody, you still have 5 minutes and 42 seconds to get out there and cast your votes, sponsor if you so choose, and have a good time. Looking forward to watching these matches play out. But in the meantime, we will roll into our questions of the week. So I'm going to break tradition, and I'm actually going to take the first couple of questions, which is a weird feeling, but we're going to do it. So the first question: will Season 2 tournaments be the same setup as Season 1 in regards to payouts, sponsorships, etc.? So that is actually what we're in the midst of designing and discussing and figuring out right now. So don't have too much good info to share for you just yet. But that is one of the things that we are currently working on, is what Season 2 should look like for our tournaments. I think it's probably fair to say that there will be changes, but what exactly those changes will be, we just don't know just yet. We have not finalized, so stay tuned for more details on that. We still have about 5 weeks left in the current season, so there's still a good amount of time before this season ends, and then potentially some time between seasons as well. So there'll be more info coming, but it's definitely something that we're looking at and open to revamping as needed. The second one: have any third parties outside of community members contacted the team to host tournaments such as Avalanche, Metis, Kaya, etc.? So YGG has hosted a tournament. They will also be hosting another tournament here in 2 weeks. I think it's in 2 weeks, if I remember right, end of the month. As far as the chain partners go, Metis in a way kind of is because part of the grant for building out PvP is also what we are using for the rewards for tournaments. But with Avalanche and Kaya in particular, it's definitely tricky to get a chain to sponsor activity that is directly and indisputably on another chain. So having them directly sponsor tournaments would definitely be a little bit trickier. But YGG has, we have talked with some other partners who may be interested in doing so as well. Dreamer, if you want to add anything to that, feel free. I don't know if you do. If not, no worries.
Although it's like obviously a pain point for a chain to sponsor a feature that is executed and runs on another chain, There are different ways that I think in discussion that it sounded like people were more like softened to the idea, and something like if we found a way like in hunts when you would win like a hunt raffle in the past, we had the ability to deliver your reward on a different chain, potentially, like especially if DFK chain didn't support your token. Technically we could do something like that. Let's say hypothetically there's an Avalanche gaming tournament, and yes, it is being executed on Metis, but maybe all their rewards are claimed on C chain. From their perspective, YGG players, Metis players, others that are over there, it gets a little bit of activity on C chain. So there still is a way for the activation to like serve their KPIs in some way, but it's a little bit of a stretch, and we haven't pushed it very hard. So yeah, I think we have a really great tech for third-party hosted tournaments, but we don't control people's view and like the politics and the pros and cons of like certain activations from a marketing perspective that other chains and protocols might have. I think it's a lot easier to get like infrastructure partners to be open to it, and I think we're trying to lean in a little bit more on that. I'd love to see a Layer 0 series ongoing, and other infrastructure partners that we use that are actually really good and do engage with communities. I think that they're probably more likely than like a competing chain. Maybe we'll make that happen one day, but it's not really something that I think we can comfortably push, if that makes sense.
Awesome. Thank you, Dreamer. All right, first question for Hubert. It feels right. This is actually the start of the AMA now. Hubert, are there any plans for Revengers tokens and other leftover tokens, but in particular the soulbound ones?
Yeah, so we do have an option in the tournaments to allow people to like use any of their tokens of a given type, whether those are the soulbound ones or the not soulbound ones. So I've been thinking that maybe we'd want to have some tournaments run during the off season that require that you bring one or two or more of those, and they could be the Revengers tokens, they could be the Patrol or Treasure Hunt tokens, I think we have one more out there that could potentially be used. Basically, if you use those, then you'd be able to join. So it'd be for only people that had participated in this previous season that would be able to do it. And have been considering that. We have to kind of take a look at like how many tokens are out there and different wallets and all that stuff. But I think that might be a fun way to kind of use up what has come from this season. But I assume some people aren't going to use them, so will probably always be some leftovers.
Awesome. Thank you. Got another one for you, sir. For transcending, are the divine essence roles and the greater divine essence roles done the same way? Do they have the same chances?
No, so they are different. The divine essence roll is just a straight D20 roll. So your chance of 20 is the same as the chance of 1. Whereas with the greater divine essence, it actually rolls 4 D20s and then takes the lowest number of those 4. So getting a high roll is much harder for that one, and the average is somewhere closer to like 4 or 5. But yeah, so if you do get like a roll of 20, then you got really lucky. That's kind of how that one's set up.
Nice. Good deal. Let's see. This one I'm gonna answer on behalf of Beetlejude, who I consulted for it. Would it be possible to simply add a button into the combat system to essentially like rotate the screen, particularly for mobile? With MetaMask Mobile and Rabby Mobile, they don't support native screen rotation, so essentially us just casting it in portrait mode rather than in landscape mode, or vice versa. I think I mixed those up, but either way, basically having a button that just changes our layout of combat to get around it. Is it possible? Probably. Is it as simple as it sounds? Definitely not. But it is an idea that we're considering and experimenting with. Unfortunately, it is not as easy as just saying, well, we're just going to display it the other direction now. There are many other considerations that go into that to make sure that it actually works, that all the buttons are in the right place, that the buttons are still responsive, and all of that good stuff. But it is something that we're going to experiment around with and see if it might be viable, but it will take some work. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to take this next one too. Hubert's getting an easy week this week, and I object to that. I need you guys to submit more questions for Hubert. But there was a follow-up question submitted from last week that was talking about development in Crystal Vale and Serendale. First and foremost, I just want to clarify in case it wasn't clear last week, development in Crystal Vale and Serendale isn't dead or stopped or anything like that. I mentioned last week our latest big release, which is Transcendence, is Crystal Vale and Serendale only. Also, a lot of what we're currently working on impacts at least 2 of our realms with new codices, new codices, pet combat bonuses, durability, that kind of thing. And then there's also a comment made last week about us being like open to building things that we can, get funding for. Just to again clarify, like those are things that are on our roadmap. So, obviously the latest example was PvP. PvP was always on our roadmap. We got the opportunity to do it sooner because we found an interested chain that was willing to fund that build, which is great. So our roadmap is, to continue building out the game, and the long-term roadmap, excuse me, the long-term roadmap and our priority list can always be found in the docs, of course, but we did just put out that updated priority list as to what we're working on currently. But I mean, in terms of the long-term roadmap, really nothing has changed overall. Like we're here to build out a full-fledged game, and that's what we're working towards. And then, if there's a feature that is later on the roadmap, but we have an opportunity for funding for it, yeah, it might get moved up. Let's see. We're going to move over to Dreamer for a few minutes here. And actually, speaking of funding, a couple of questions. So this first question is, how do we get more funding from Avalanche in the future or raise funds otherwise so that we can spin up additional L1s as we need them for new realms rather than going to different chains?
Well, new L1s would be different chains, so it'd still have a lot of the problems with like bridging and everything, although the technology is getting better with Wormhole and other things helping reduce some of those barriers. But I think the question is more, is there funding available for something like additional L1s outside of DFK Chain within the Avalanche ecosystem? Maybe. I think in the last 3 years, maybe 6 months to a year, it seems like Avalanche's comfort or focus or view on how to spend either marketing dollars or ecosystem growth dollars or like any type of things that could come close to a grant, which I think they've just gotten very, very careful on. They've always been pretty careful. Maybe there's something there. If we were to look at what we did with Metis, and everything that was built over that 1 year deal, Avalanche was aware. We're able to be transparent in the realm of being respectful and under our NDA as well with Metis. It was kind of hard to make sure we're trying to make everybody happy. But when we pursued like something separate, like another L1, it doesn't go very far, mainly because it just pretty much doubles so many things on our side. However, pursuing existing L1s that are already, kind of funded by Avalanche that have other funding, we have tried. We've talked to many other L1s that were looking for games to bring on. But I don't think we ever got to the point of like the ROI being worth it amount possible. But we have talked about it. We've had things progress. It has never been like the front runner so far. That could change. Maybe we'll have an idea or a need or something. I know that Fox and Magnus at different times had talked about, look at the chain, how it's performing. Look at gas. One option could be migrating features to another like L1 with an Avalanche. But when you really look into that as an option, there's just so many additional things in terms of cost, maintenance that come up. So if the question was on those things, I hope I answered it. If it was simply, why are we asking other people for money? We should ask the Avalanche. Well, we do. We ask them for a lot of things, and they give us a lot of things. And there are, many things that in a perfect world that we'd probably have that we don't necessarily get or haven't gotten yet. But they're great partners, and they're just very careful with money and how they spend and how they grow their ecosystem. Kaya, if we're to answer the same question over there, what they are focused on is very, very clear. But there are some things coming out where maybe their phase of transitionary Klaytn to Kaya and the merge with Finchia and the focus online, it seems like they might be coming out of that like hole of focus and focusing more on blockchain stuff. There's a couple announcements that we're looking into and syncing with them on. So more to come there. But if you recall, we have asked Kaya for more money too, for more features and build and everything. And that was more of a public vote that was turned down. So are we asking, are we brainstorming? Are we talking to all the chains and existing partners to have as many lines in the water? Yeah, we're doing the best we can. We're going to continue to do that. Have we seen the right thing rise to the top with our existing partners yet in the way that this question is asking? Not yet, but you never know.
Awesome. I feel like you kind of actually ended up answering this question as well, but I guess we'll throw it out there just in case there's anything you want to add to it. Are we actively looking for investors or other fund injection opportunities?
I think we are always like actively open to it. And we have a pretty steady stream of interest over time. It's a little bit tricky with what like the vehicle of investment that we could use, whether that's like equity in the onshore dev studio, which is pretty much, we don't hold much money there or anything. It's pretty much like a pass through to facilitate all of our devs and everybody else getting paid over time. So equity, that's kind of hard to prove. You're not like building a retained earnings. There's IP there, and then access to the code and everything. But setting up the contracts to all send fees to BVI wallets and things that is technically owned by an offshore entity, like it gets a little messy there. So anything there would likely be like a collaboration or partnership with maybe like an existing studio where there's an exchange of equity. I could see that being much more likely than like a full-on traditional raise, which requires financials supporting like long-term growth of retained earnings, blah, 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 where we're really careful with the money that we have and how long we can make it last and our spending. And are not yet, even though it's a profitable game, it like turns a profit in terms of the player's experience. If you look at the cost of building outside of sustaining the existing build, man, it's expensive. So those are always going, and we are open to it. We're open to other types as well. As we know, the deals that have kept us sustained thus far have been different forms of capital injection. We just tried to be very like intelligent with the way that we did it. Who has money in the space? Well, oftentimes chains have money. They have a lot of money from raising. They have money from the speculative period where their token might have pumped in previous markets, and they maybe have locked in a treasury. And their whole goal is to attract protocols that bring players and or transactions. We can solve that need probably better than anybody in the space in many different ways, from a DeFi perspective, from an on-chain utility of NFT and tokens perspective, from a volume perspective, and so on. So I think that has been successful in the past. So that part of the question, we're always kind of trying to keep our ear to the ground. Who's looking, what chains are around, which new ones are popping up, maybe who's gotten additional funding unlocked that they are looking to like essentially spend. So Sunbear stays pretty busy, I would say probably at least monthly, but a lot of times weekly or even interweekly, talking to or revisiting previously met with chains. And yeah, we're always open to it. And if there's anybody out there that has an intro to a game studio or to more of like a traditional investor or something that you'd like to be like, you guys should consider these options, we're open to it. Please reach out to Bullon and others. We're not really closed off to anything. We have seen at this point dozens of different opportunities. Most of them just aren't right for all involved, but every once in a while we get one that is right, right? Especially on the build side. So that's the answer there. Open to it. Trying to do pretty much everything we can. And over the last 3 years, we've had quite a bit of success with our decision making of what to do and what not to do. But market's always changing, game's always changing and progressing, and we're definitely open to different forms of funding.
Nice. Thank you, sir. One last question for you, which there were two questions that are essentially asking the same thing, so I'm going to put them together. Any word regarding the Jewel listing application on Kraken or Coinbase? Are there others being explored? And overall thoughts on centralized exchange listings?
Yeah, so centralized exchange listings, there are a number of subtopics on this. To answer the question very clearly on have we heard back, we actually haven't. We've put a number of applications out there. Shout out to Professor Tango and Zipper, Bull on Sunbear. Those applications are long. They're kind of different every time. And exchanges are constantly dealing with existing clients, volatility, volume, and regulation. So I don't know their process on a lot of these. They usually stay pretty cryptic, but we haven't heard back. And there's not really a way to like follow up without just applying again, which I don't know if it's better or worse. In terms of network, I've come across most listing teams in some way or another at all these events, and you bet your butt I'm asking them about the DFK Jewel listing. And I have a hunch that when you go to look at the application and everything, their bosses are probably telling them, look for what is out there that is already blowing up off chain or on other centralized exchanges and try to get it here. Yeah, and that typically ends up being memes or other things that break into like top 100 after some public news of a raise or something. The other part of it is, let's say we have heard back from everyone, which we haven't, and they're really excited, and we're like, we love that you guys are actually building something of value. We look at the history of the graph, and it doesn't scare us because we see the value that you have built and put in the game that is represented by the tokens, utility, blah 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 blah. All right, that'll be $350,000, and we'll list you. What do we do then? Now we start negotiating, trying to negotiate down listing fees, and then all right, okay, we waive all the listing fees. You're good. All right, now give us 10% of your supply. Oh, what do we do then? Where does that come from? So the question is asking more like, have we applied to others and have we heard back? We haven't heard back. We've applied to a few others, and more than that, in person. I'm pretty annoying to most listing agents that show up at events. I feel like that's the only opportunity to really get awareness that is otherwise buried under a lot of other fluff in the space. And if we end up getting to the point where we get some traction and movement, that'll be great. But then it introduces other problems that we'll probably look for some creative solutions to see how we can make it. I would love to see Jewel on all the major exchanges. We do not dislike centralized exchanges, but it's not like we have all the other parts of the problem solved already. And we would have to ask the question, what building do we not do to support this listing? And we have been listed on a few, top 50, top 25 exchanges. We don't see the volume that everybody wants to see. I think in previous bull markets, a listing would give you a period of time of volatility, and most people pushing for it were actually looking for more of an exit opportunity rather than a massive inflow of other holders. But that's just my personal opinion on the past of what I observed. So would a listing of a top 5, top 10 change the game for not change the game, but you know what I mean? Change it for Jewel? I don't know. I'm not sure if it would, but we're definitely not saying no to it. We're still pursuing it. And when we hear back from one that we like, we'll have other problems to solve.
Awesome. Thank you for all of the insight, Dreamer. Very, very much appreciated. Let's see. We are going to flip back to Hubert here for a moment. What features besides durability and pet combat bonuses are we hoping to potentially have out by the end of the year? And do we have any thoughts on what we might see in terms of codices by end of year?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think one thing we'd want to look at is, what have we accomplished so far this year? We've had like 3 different major releases with our tournaments and like the hosted tournaments and then Transcendence as well. We also have the pet combat bonuses and durability are very close as well. So that's like 5 major features there. One new class codex is out, and pirate is just also right around the corner too. So we've accomplished quite a lot so far this year. And for what's coming next, I'd say a lot of those things are on our current roadmap that we've shared, or our priority list, I guess I should call it. So there are some other things that are there on the priority list as well that we want to prioritize. And as we kind of start knocking things off, we'll be looking at what we can do next. But we're also kind of in this phase of we just barely finished our deal with Metis, and so we're there's always the potential that we'll get some other deal with a different partner that will kind of change our focus somewhat. But if it doesn't, I think we're just going to keep moving forward with what we have there on our priority list. So I think there's things can always change, but I'll say at least one additional class beyond this for sure. If we have time, I think we'd want to do more than that. But things are just kind of it's too hard to predict what we're going to do when we don't have like a contract or another deal on the horizon. Like that could very easily change kind of what we're focusing on if it were to happen. So I don't want to get too like nailed down on what we're going to end up doing because of that.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate the insight, and excited to see the things that are getting close continue to get closer, and then what comes next. I do want to pause for just a moment before we go to the next question, because this AMA about Winston knew where I was going.
Holy shit. Twists and turns, man.
This has been just a wild ride.
I don't know how you guys are still answering questions. It's crazy.
Me neither. This has genuinely just been a very intense back and forth. It's been exciting, and now it's still just coming down to the wire. Anyone's game.
I know. I don't know how I can win this, but like maybe there's a universe where I can win this here. Like I'm kind of trying to decide, do I ice rain him? Like there's a fair amount of damage here, but it's also costly. Whereas like this is going to be dirt ass cheap, and I can just grind him away. I don't think he has any more attacks to use. Like maybe he's got like the weakest firebolt or some shit. So like, I'm just going to grind him down. I'm going to win. Maybe, probably not, even with that crazy confused. Did you guys see that earlier? That was unbelievable. My archer got confused. He had a sharpshooter basic attack already empowered. And I dude, as soon as I saw him confused, I was like, he's going to shoot the seer with that. He's absolutely not going to shoot the guy I tell him to shoot. He's going to shoot my seer. And naturally, shot the seer. So to win after something crazy like that, I don't even know. I can tell like that he's got ice rain. Okay, this could be I could just shut up here in a second. No, all right. We're still so I think that's it. I don't think he has any more. Yeah, that blind did, man. I've been watching you miss just over and over and over again.
Yeah, the blind was definitely crucial there.
Yeah, it came through for me. So I don't think he has any more attacks to use. He's not chilled anymore. I got a couple more. Let's see. Will a basic attack be enough to finish him? Because if I can just know, it's not. Okay. I want to make sure he dies. That's important to me. All right. Go back to your questions. You can come back to me later.
I've not much later. This will be coming to an end here soon, one way or another. But man, this is intense. Oh, with the wizard staying alive.
So close, man. So close. I don't think I have enough though. If he can basic attack me, like I think I'm gonna be toast.
Whatever you've got left in that wizard, you better spend it now.
I know. I'm trying to decide if I should use Ice Rain. I don't think it's gonna be very effective on him.
It does more damage, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Your
We're doing it.
guy's about to die, right?
Yeah.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah,
may as well get every ounce out of him.
this is your final whisper.
Oh,
Misses.
worst advice ever.
Heartbreaker.
No.
He could still miss. Oh, he didn't miss.
He
That's
didn't
okay.
miss. He did not miss.
Wow. Just
And
right
now
down to the wire.
we're gonna see it basic attack to the end, and I think he's got.
Oh, you
I mean, he's
confused
got
him
the
too.
I don't think he can
advantage.
shoot himself though. So
I think he can.
can they? I didn't
Looks
think
like
they could.
I think they can, but it looks like it was a one turn confuse anyway. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I think
Oh.
that HP advantage
Let's
is
see.
going.
3 misses in a row. Oh, that's not going to be. That wasn't it.
At this point, we're not going back to questions. We're going to watch the end of this match.
We're
Then
just
we'll go
gonna
back
let
to
this one run
questions.
out.
But this has truly just been a phenomenal match.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to put a shield on. That's right. I forgot about those.
Oh no!
Should I just be like passing turns, like just trying to get as many turns as I can?
Try to get through 7 turns as fast as possible.
Yeah, I mean that did give me an extra one more turn, basically.
It did. Unfortunately, you also paired it with a miss, so that one more turn did not pay off much. But there's a miss from him.
Okay.
Oh my god! Oh
Who's just on
man!
the edge of their seat? Who's in that 40 million that they put on DFK Elite?
Last stand. Too.
Oh no!
And another miss.
Oh, he's got last stand.
Oh, but he's got last stand. That is rough. Are you taking the pass turn
I'm
strategy?
passing.
Oh my god. I don't know if it'll work, but it's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, we'll see. Oh,
and there it is. Got enough.
Good game. Let's get right into that next one.
Very, very good game to both of you. That was an incredibly fun game to watch. So I'm excited to see this next one. Congratulations to the man of many names, Spas Vogel, for taking home the first victory by the skin of his teeth. So let's see what game 2 has in store. Man, remember at the beginning when you were like, yeah, we always finish bouts with extra time. You weren't anticipating that one, huh?
Yeah, that's true. I did not expect that.
All good though. That was an incredible match. So I'm excited to watch the second one. With that, I'm going to try to remember where we were in terms of questions. I do remember where we were. Excellent. I'm actually going to take this next one as well. Have we thought about utilizing the non-dev team members to create DFK content? Short version is yes. Winston here actually has been streaming on Arena. I would say 2-3 times a week most of the time, Winston.
Yeah, a couple times a week for sure.
So we have been ramping up on the content production, especially on the Arena side. I will say, it is something that I want to get back to doing myself, as well as making some content and doing some streams. That said, I do also think it's worth just throwing out as a reminder. We also do have job responsibilities as well. So we may not be coding, but we do have things that we have to do also. But yes, we would like to see more content creation. Like I said, Winston has been doing a great job leading the charge on that. I need to get back into it myself as well. But as always, love seeing the community content also. Always doing our best to amplify that as well. So if you are a community creator, make sure you let us know, tag us in the tweet or, whatever the case may be, so that we can amplify it. We can try to help drive exposure for you guys as well. All right. Jumping back over to you, Hubert. Any thoughts on where dungeons or a patrols spinoff on Crystal Vale would fall on the roadmap?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say it would be after everything that's right there on our priority list. We do have plans for going down that road. What it will be called, whether it's dungeons or something else, is yet to be said. But we do, when we built patrols, we did kind of have in mind that we would be taking the systems built for that and applying it elsewhere in the game as well. So that's still a plan. It's just not higher priority than what we are currently prioritizing.
Awesome. Sorry, I was reading chat there. I agree. It is an uphill battle. Let's see. So these next ones, I'll kick off, but anybody's welcome to chime in if they have additional thoughts that they want to add to them. What are our plans for the community if PvP doesn't seem to have the engagement we were hoping for, or is the contractual obligation to maintain all focus on PvP for the calendar year following launch? I'll answer the second part first. No, no, our contractual obligations are completed. Which I mean, honestly, even during the build, we did patrols during the PvP build. Since then, we've done Transcendence. We're working on class codexes or codices. I don't know why I can never remember the right word. We're working on pet combat bonuses and durability. So we're already working on, yes, they impact PvP, but non-PvP things. Outside of that, I would say that in general, our focus is around experiences. So, obviously we will continue to work on classes and that kind of thing. Pet combat bonuses and durability are really big pieces that once they're in place, they're just kind of in place. But outside of that, really focusing on bringing more experiences for players to participate in. Those experiences can take many, many forms, including what Hubert was just talking about, actually. But just in general, continuing to add to the options of how to spend your time within DeFi Kingdoms. Dreamer, Winston, Hubert, anything y'all want to add to that before I move on? All right.
You crushed it. You did so good.
Thank you, Dreamer. Looking at tournament season 1, the way that it was structured produces niches instead of a broad, welcoming play space, in the opinion of this question asker. I guess I should specify. I'm reading this question, but what is the plan to move beyond this limiting model and have a more broad scale casual mode? So that's a lot of what we're talking about right now. We're talking about several things that we can do in that direction, what barriers people have to being able to participate, what's preventing them from doing so, and how we can overcome those barriers. And I think there's a few different things that play into that. So I don't think it's one solution necessarily, but a series of solutions. So we're brainstorming several different things. I mentioned earlier that we are starting to work on what season 2 of tournaments will look like as well. So that is part of it, but there's other solutions outside of tournaments as well. I'm going to leave it at that for now. But again, if anybody has anything they want to add, feel free. And if not, I will roll to the next question. All right. Oh, or did I freeze? Can y'all hear me? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, my screen froze, so I wasn't sure if I froze. Anyway, moving on. We had a couple questions come in last minute, so I'm gonna grab these and pull them, and we'll see what happens. Let's see, Hubert. I think this one I will see if you have thoughts first. What is the intended long-term role that's for a hero that's optimized for a specific PvP bracket? So in terms of parking, quote unquote, a hero at a certain level to participate in that level of PvP, any thoughts on that happening and what that means for the long-term growth of that hero?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think it's kind of a difficult problem to solve for, right? With having there be level caps on some tournaments, we do want that to translate to people that may not have level 20 heroes, for example, or level 20 heroes that are competitive, may have heroes that are competitive at lower levels. Now if that leads them to deciding that they're just not going to progress the heroes levels anymore after that point, I think that's a choice they can make. They could also choose to, this one's doing good and I'm going to start progressing it further up and get different heroes. But if that is such a problem that we should say that, because it's limiting heroes from making progress, we should just never have any level cap content and only have be a level 20. I don't think that's the right solution. I think it's really going to kind of come down to the player deciding if, they want to keep using this hero exclusively for tournaments, or if they want to like progress them to like the next bracket up. Like that will be kind of a choice, I think, at that point. But I'm not going to say that I think that we shouldn't have level caps or anything like that, because I do think that allows some players to play that wouldn't otherwise.
Nice. Let's see. This one I'm going to throw to Dreamer first, and we'll see where it goes. Dreamer, how is the team thinking about balancing rewards for passive investors versus active players? And any thoughts on the potential for hybrid models where a player's stake might set their reward potential but require some level of active play to unlock those rewards?
Yeah, we're thinking about this thing called profession quests and gardening and mining. I'm just joking. That kind of sounds like that though, right? Where there's some kind of passive fixed something that is unlocking higher like earning or reward potential for active gameplay. Is that what the question is? Did I understand it right?
I think so, yeah. And I guess any thoughts on like how that could play into like combat, for example?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at some of the features we have, if I'm understanding the question correctly, I think there's other observations of that. Initially it was at a very simple level, participate in DeFi while adding some utility of tokens and NFTs in a game-like fashion, and they kind of all synergize. If you look at the Coliseum, I think we tried to do that to an extent with participating in PvP is further enhanced by enlisting your heroes, and had additional rewards for that as well. And then additional things you can do related to the other feature that's unrelated to staking heroes, like, betting on matches for one thing. And then, patrol has kind of got linked to it, and the use of shells, and then the reward system with chests. So in the future, I do think there are different opportunities. We've tried to dabble with it in a number of features so far. It's hard though. There's kind of an efficient frontier of on one axis you have like complexity, and then the other fun. And there's kind of a point where if you want to play a feature and you're like, cool, now go and do all these things to maximize your benefit from it, it should work as long as the feature is easily accessible and fun on its own, separate, without any of the complexity. And then when you add the complexity, and it can unlock more and more and more and be more of like an endgame min-max feeling, or like maximizing your yield or return from whatever you're doing, I do think it can be effective. The question is, all the work to do all of that, is it worth it to how many players are accessing that like deep content? And is it limiting growth or promoting growth? So I think that it's a good question, and it's one that we can answer. We've tried to do things within the realm of what I think this question is asking, and we're going to continue. But just adding an anecdote of, sometimes the more creative you get, or we get, with things on chain and connecting one feature to an unrelated token or series of features that makes your overall experience better or more rewarding, but there's a lot more steps. We're always trying to learn on what is the right balance between complexity versus fun. And I do think that overly simple is not fun, and overly complex can have things of not fun too. And finding that middle ground where you're getting the best benefit of the both is kind of the moving target we're chasing. But you can expect that we'll follow the same direction, obviously adjusting from what we've learned in the past and what we think the current market needs. But I really like when we can maximize the blockchain tech within DeFi Kingdoms across not only the tokens and DeFi, but the gameplay as well.
Very nice. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. As a quick reminder, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Arena, retweet the tweet, do all of the things. Help us share and amplify this AMA to get in front of as many people as we can. With that, we have completed our questions, so we will be moving momentarily into our wrap-up. But before that, Winston, this game seems to be much more one-sided.
No, I just made a really dumb mistake. I got it literally about to do something and then talked to someone else and then came back and just did not the thing I was about to do, just on autopilot for a second. And that was oh, it was critical that you gave the other wizard a health potion. And I didn't. So the other wizard died and then, just kind of whittling away at the two of them without enough oomph to really turn it around. So just a dumb mistake, that's all it takes sometimes. You look away for a conversation and then you die.
Yep.
So, what can you do? But life goes on, and I'm sure I'll get another shot at somebody else next week, and it'll be a lot of fun. It's gonna be great. And that's how this bout went down.
Oh, that's part of the fun of DFK PvP is that one mistake can really cost you.
It's great when someone else makes the mistake.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I'm always hoping my opponent makes the mistake.
Yeah, it's not as fun when you make it.
Well, with that, we will go into our wrap-up as Level Up finishes cleaning up this bout here. As always, thank you everyone who has tuned in live and everyone who will watch this recording later. Thank you also to all of those who submit questions for us. As always, you can submit your questions at talk.defykingdoms.com or in the AMA questions channel in Discord. Make sure you keep them coming, because if you don't have questions for us, then this gets really lonely up here. Thank you, Winston, Hubert, and Dreamer, for taking the time out of the week to join us up here on stage and answer these questions for us. We really appreciate you guys as well. Hubert, you got a really light week this week, so I'm banking on everybody putting in a bunch of questions for you next week, just a subtle hint. But with that, as always, thank you all. And we will go over to, let's go to Dreamer for any final thoughts.
This is the final thought. I don't know. I don't know what my final thought is. I don't like that it's final. I don't like favorites or final things. I'll just give thought. I shall give thought at the end of AMA. Thank you, everybody. In the chat, Sticks, Zealous, Ogre, people that I've seen in there, interacting as we go. Really appreciate you, Kurt and others. And then obviously this game is, this bout that we just watched was really exciting. There's a lot of exciting bouts out there as we share and we clip and we enjoy the fun part of this journey as a community. It just makes it all worth it. We're all trying to progress in a similar direction as we see in this crazy space. And sometimes we have a little bit differences here and there, but I just love that we all have so much passion for the space, for the game that we have come to care about so much, and for its incredible and very hard to measure potential of everything that we can do through the years and in the coming time. So shout out to all the community builders and content creators and folks that continue to play and vote and support others in their efforts as well. Appreciate you guys. Bolon, that was my thought. Not a final thought, but it was just a thought.
Just a thought. I like it. Let's see. I was trying to remember who I had do our sign off last week, but at this point I've been convinced that it was all three of you, so I've failed. So I'm going to nominate Hubert. So Winston, any additional thoughts that you would like to share before we end this AMA?
No, just that it's perfect, because I forgot to ask DFK Elite if he wanted to say something or write something. So yeah, Hubert is perfect. Thanks everybody. I hope you're all having a wonderful week, and thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for playing games with us, and we hope you stick around, keep playing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Winston. And DFK Elite, since you got shorted, if you have anything you want to share for next week, we'll do that.
No, we won't.
Hubert, any additional thoughts for this AMA? And then whenever you're ready to sign us off.
Let's see. So yeah, I feel like I'm kind of been in a pretty strong broken record mode recently, just with us kind of working on all these big things and them all kind of getting close to finished at around the same time. It's still that way. Really happy with the progress being made with Pirate and other balance changes that are also going to be coming along with that. We still have more testing to go, but we're going to be hammering on it for this next little while with the goal of trying to get that out soon. We have the season of tournaments is getting close to the end, so we're getting things geared up for that as well. It's been a pretty wild ride. There's a lot that we've accomplished so far, and looking to accomplish more and more as we go. I want to thank everyone here who's been so passionate about the project and had so much feedback to provide, and who are engaging in the game and everything. We wouldn't be here without all of you. So appreciate all of you and everybody, everyone on the team as well, for all their hard work. And I'll just end with a big fat bullish.
Bullish.
Fat bullish.
Bullish. Sorry, I already put my microphone away. Bullish.
Thank you all, and we will see you next week.
DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.